Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Last Minute Kickout, your favorite wrestling podcast show with three internet, I'm going to say personalities, but what I mean is nobodies because we mean nothing in internet circles. I, as always, am Pete, Titan Creed Nethercoat, joined as always by my cohorts in wrestling podcasting fame. One, Mr. Kevin, the Kevin Eva.
Evening.
And one Mr. John Turbo Finley.
Yes, that is me.
Greetings. And yes, we are talking about Fastlane. We're on the road to WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen. How do we feel about this so far?
It's so bumpy. Simple as.
Well, if on the basis of Fastlane, it's a road that has a lot of roadworks and replacement bus services.
I considered it, if we were judging it by Fastlane, to be a very predictable, very smooth line where nothing happens of note, that we hadn't already seen coming.
Yeah, but it did have a couple of sharp corners here and there.
I guess the biggest questions that we needed to ask before we went into Fastlane was, is it going to suffer from what's noted as the Fastlane curse, which is where it's a very dull show, where, it's very predictable, leads into WrestleMania, nothing of note is actually happening or anything else, because the last couple of Fastlanes have just been nothing.
Well, they've been not needed on the pay-per-view calendar, especially being the second, the third pay-per-view before WrestleMania. And it's that doesn't need to happen.
I think it's obviously just there to bridge the gap between and not have a 6-week gap between.
Personally, I would have liked that 6-week gap. It gives better kind of work on the program. Anyway,
we will. I don't want to skip over the kickoff show, but I don't think we'll talk about it. I mean, the biggest things of note on the kickoff show were Kofi being brought to the McMahons to talk about his championship match slot, and obviously it then became two of the New Day versus
Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Some form of Nation of Domination resurgence. I don't know.
Or no, the League of Nations.
League of Nations, yes.
The League of Creative is nothing for you.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
To which they won, and it makes a small note of it later on. But I want to talk about the main card, and they opened with McMahon and Miz versus the Usos. I thought this was a pretty good match, actually, considering. You can find all of my initial thoughts if you do join us on the Last Minute Continued Discord, which I'm sure Kev will put in the notes for this video because he's a superstar. Because I was just live. I'd say live blogging, but I was just writing down my instant feelings as I was watching the show. I thought it was an amazing match. We were in Miz's hometown. The crowd were mentally behind him. He had some merch to shill based on it. I'll let you guys talk about the match, and I'll talk about my thoughts after the match. So, you guys are more of the technical. I'm just a casual bystander.
I mean, granted, there was a lot of notable spots to it and whatnot. That kind of like top rope stalemate between Shane McMahon and one of the Usos, where one of the Usos was about to splash Miz on the ground. And Shane was there. It's who's got to jump the gun first? And then the Uso went into the air, and Shane did a drop kick. A bit unclean, but
it was essentially the coast to coast, but that was really nicely done in terms of timing.
It's more like a coast to mid-Atlantic,
coast to sink. Yeah, no, that was really nice, and it wasn't. It was a spot nobody was really expecting either, which was good.
Bearing in mind that it was literally the last pay-per-view or the one before where they won the tag titles, that Cesaro clotheslined him while he was doing the coast to coast.
Yeah,
and we had the coast to coast to the coast to almost coast as well. It was. We say this a lot. We say this a lot about. In fact, this would be the third show in a row, I think, where we've said that this match was a lot better than it had any right to be.
Indeed.
A Shane McMahon match is a lot better, but that's desperately unfair of 3/4 of the performers in it. Well, I say 3/4 of the performers because there was a fifth performer. I don't know if you could really call him a performer.
I was going to say
he was involved.
He wasn't a performer.
If you are a father, if you are a father and your son is involved in something, try and have more than 2 facial expressions.
Bloody emote, damn it!
Yes.
This was. He wasn't a fifth performer. This was an episode of Rainbow, and he was very much Zippy with somebody's hand up his bungle.
No, Zippy emoted.
Yeah, I was going to say.
George,
It's more the other way around. Bungle didn't emote.
Maybe did George. Right, yes.
It was George, but
And there goes
Miz Dad Miz.
George.
I like how they were calling him Mr. Miz instead of Mr. Mizanin. I was just like,
maybe we're gonna get a Mr. Miz versus Mr. McMahon. There's a McMahon in every corner.
yeah, let's.
And there's 2 corners.
I'll be honest. With a lot of the way this pay-per-view is going, it has felt like there's going to be a McMahon in every corner.
Somehow, some way.
Well, granted, they're already involved in bloody storylines already, and frankly, that's a whole another kettle of fish that we don't want to get into.
This is 3 matches where there is some sort of McMahon influence one way or the other.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So the inevitable heel turn happened. We've been expecting this since November. When was
It was November.
It was November.
Crown
even
Jewel.
better. There we go. Crown Jewel was November. We've been expecting it since November. Obviously, storylines have been rewritten and everything else, but it was obviously going to lead to a WrestleMania match. Good for The Miz. It means he's guaranteed on the card. It's the inevitable Shane McMahon match now, so...
Shane McMahon is a new Undertaker, everybody. Oh, boy.
Oh, God.
But no, it's we've got a face Miz...
Yes.
That is legitimately sympathetic and is a lot better than the face Miz we got last time, which nobody wanted.
Yeah.
True. The biggest thing is obviously the crowd was super behind Miz anyways.
Yeah, hometown.
So
they were outraged. They were legitimately
the boo
outraged.
Was my biggest... I actually recalled in my seat because those strikes that Shane did on Miz looked...
They were legit. They were legit strikes.
He was
the kick to the head. The kick to the head was horrible.
Yeah, they were right stiff potatoes right there.
It makes me wonder because, as we know, Shane and working punches and kicks, punches especially, is obviously, ships that have long since passed in the night. It makes me wonder if actually Miz told him to just legitimately hit him.
I wouldn't second guess him doing that because Miz, after all the kind of stunts he's done in movies and whatnot, I'm sure he's kind of gotten to points where he's like, I can take a few lumps here.
Maybe they just wanted it to make it look more real, so the heat was more believable.
I mean, Miz himself in that match was he was really going for it.
Yeah,
we had a frog splash that actually had a heck of a good extension on it.
Shame it didn't land it.
Shame it didn't land it because he was sort of in sort of.
No, he very much landed the frog splash. He landed
just
it on
the
knees.
floor.
That was
but he was
problem.
in preparation for the knees because he's not used to taking knees from the frog. I reckon he could actually do that as part of his repertoire. It was quite nice. It's nice to see something with such extension. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Although it'll be surprising if he does do a shoot star press.
He came off. He went off the top as well to the outside. Did he not?
Yeah.
That's very un-Miz.
He is most definitely expanding what he has the ability to do these days.
Yeah. We're looking
and it's been coming for a while. We mentioned on the last episode about the springboard
axe handle.
Yeah.
But it's good. You know what? Isn't this counter to what he said in his heel persona with Daniel Bryan going against Daniel Bryan when Daniel Bryan was face about how I don't get injured, I don't do these other things.
Yeah,
It's,
all
it's,
these
it's
wrist
almost
moves.
so that he can do them.
It's almost like he should have been part of the revival, and that would have been really interesting to watch. Actually, now that I think about it,
Wow, yeah. An alliance of convenience in terms of messaging.
yeah, exactly. But I think we can all agree that it was a very good match, very good way if you want to start off the crowd and get them pretty hot throughout, and keep them invested. So
It was a good start, yeah.
it's a very good start. I want to move on to Asuka versus Rose. I think the biggest thing I took away from this is that it wasn't a squash match.
No, but it wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't that good. No,
Let me just interject here. I enjoyed the match until the end, and the end is what ruined it. And the only reason it doesn't become believable in that fact is obviously it's obviously a mishap with going to the apron as a mistake on the wrong side originally to look through the kendo stick. That what's her name? I forget.
Sonya.
Sonya.
Deville.
She looked to the wrong side and then obviously went to the right side. But you know, and obviously on the replay it shows, like, because everybody was confused, and she slipped on the apron, but she didn't touch the apron. And there have been many times in a lot of previous matches where that apron has been slightly above the ring, and no one else has slipped on it before. I get the idea. It's obviously, especially after SmackDown as well, it's building to those two finally splitting apart after the women's Battle Royal ages ago as well. So this is another what feels like revived storyline. It felt like a very bad way to get Rose over. Rose and Sonya to fight about this. I thought it was an enjoyable, serviceable match until that end.
So conversely, I thought it was kind of a match until the end, which I really enjoyed. Because it was something that was different. It was something that was different. I don't think we've seen before, or if we have, it's so long ago that it's not something that anyone can bring to mind. The fact that there was a comeuppance for not for interference but for intended interference was nice. The fact that Sonya did clearly have some sort of plan because she was trying to distract Asuka beforehand, that was good. It was a nice sort of lead up to that. The fact that there was the slip on the apron that nobody sort of really caught it until the replay, that's unfortunate. But in terms of that mistake leading to the 3 count, that's, like I say, that's new. And as you say, it's there all the time, but it doesn't really encroach into the ring as much as this one was intended to, and it does set those two off against each other. Asuka can move on to much bigger and better things than Mandy Rose, and Mandy and Sonya can go and do their thing.
I think this is going to lead to a triple threat between the three of them at WrestleMania.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And then I think Asuka will keep the belt there.
Please.
And then it will lead to those two then going on their singles feud after that.
Yeah, I hope so.
Fair enough. Also, that kick that Asuka hit Mandy Rose basically caved in her jaw. That
was pretty
amazing.
See, that's why I like Asuka. It's like she knows how to deliver a sweet kick.
Yeah. I think everything up to I really want to like Mandy Rose as a competitor, but there's enough there in her performance that takes me out of it, and it's so regular. I'm always conscious of the fact that I am watching somebody perform.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. There's very little realism about it. Very little realism about her character. Which is a pity, because I actually do believe Mandy Rose could be a really good asset to the women's division, filling a very specific role in that. But,
it's the same for Sonya Deville as well.
Yeah, and Sonya Deville. Like I say, who had the? Was it Sonya at the last pay-per-view had like that ridiculously good spear?
Yes,
it was. So. Yeah,
because it was.
She could be a sort of like a. It was probably not very flattering, but basically be like a rhino, like.
She is supposed to be like this MMA style kind of.
But she could fill sort of that kind of role, and we're talking obviously not current right now, but but in terms of the characters, she could fill that role in the women's division, and just like do a bit of a cycle with her, and
I think
goes on a tear and what have you.
It's a good idea, but I think when we see the rest of the MMA ladies come up from NXT,
Shayna Baszler.
I think Shayna Baszler will probably fit that role a little bit more.
She will,
more than likely, but for the time being.
Yeah,
I mean, when's you gonna come up from NXT? It depends. If Vince wakes up, one day
I imagine. I imagine it'll be well off. No, it will be
SummerSlam probably,
and it really wholly depends on when Ronda Rousey comes back from her extended vacation after WrestleMania, and I imagine she'll bring them with her.
It might even be another year.
Yeah. I imagine they'll wait and they'll bring him up. I imagine you'll probably find it'll be closer to Mania, not Mania. The Royal Rumble.
Survivor Series. Oh, right. I was going to say Survivor Series.
We've named most of the pay-per-views now, guys. So when she actually is called up, one of us is right.
Yeah, that's it.
And we can see. You remember that prediction we made collectively?
Yeah, that's it. Collectively. Absolutely. Yeah. John, you haven't really talked about this match at all.
No, because granted, I was in the same ballpark as Kev, although slightly more disappointed with the whole thing. I was just not that well invested until, Asuka was kind of like putting down Mandy Rose for the finish, essentially. It was just, it's like, I love Asuka, but I just did not like the match that well. I just wasn't invested fully into it, which was a shame, but I just want more for Asuka. I feel as though that she could have better matches with other opponents. Things like, personally, I would like to see just a singles match from a better singles match with her and Sonya Deville, because I think Sonya Deville can have a better program with Asuka on her own, if given the time and the effort and whatnot. But
I think Asuka would relish that, actually.
Yeah, so really
I think Asuka would relish actually having some TV time.
Yes, of course, that would help a lot as well.
You know what Asuka says? No one is ready to book Asuka properly.
Indeed. And moving on from that...
we go into Kofi and the New Day finally talking to Mr. McMahon. He announces the WWE Championship is going to be a triple threat and Kofi to go to the ring because his match is next. Which we then find out is a handicap match of Kofi versus The Bar with the New Day band from ringside. Now, I want to put out that my notes here that I wrote is that the McMahon's being heel and screwing Kofi is becoming super referential. I'm quoting this exactly how I wrote it. To the Daniel Bryan time he was being screwed by the Authority up to WrestleMania 30.
Yep, it's essentially the same.
If we at WrestleMania 30 get Kofi versus Vince for the right to be in the main event versus Daniel Bryan.
That's not happening, because have you seen
Vince's too?
Because we're recording this after Raw and SmackDown actually happened after Fastlane, and at the moment for next week, Kofi is scheduled for a gauntlet match.
Yeah.
To qualify to face Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. That's essentially the program that they're going for, to get Kofi and Bryan at Mania at the moment. Whether or not Kofi wins that match or not, and then he has to go through that circle.
We'll talk about that at the end. I have my own thoughts on that. Whether we do it as a special episode or something, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in prediction.
But I do want to add that everything up to with the exception of the SmackDown for this week, they've done it where it's both Xavier and Big E have done all of the talking in defense of Kofi. Yes. And Kofi hasn't said a thing. It's obviously changed on the SmackDown following Fastlane, but it's never been Kofi in defense of his right to be in that position.
I think they're sort of going along with the whole idea of, you know, Kofi, whenever the camera's gone, Kofi's more hurt by the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going along the thing that Kofi's this good man who's being, you know, held back, and he's all his hard work, and you know he'll find his voice.
Which has always been the case because he's always been a humble person.
Yeah, he's well, except in video games. As anybody who's watched Up, Down, Down will be able to tell you.
Well, he's just very competitive. I should know. I'm kind of like that myself.
If you two could play a video game, the world will end.
There we go.
No one would be left alive.
No one.
But yeah, we obviously have the Bar versus Kofi in a handicap match.
Yeah, it was evident that to keep Kofi down, it was quite a squash match and whatnot.
There's an interlude where the rest of the New Day come out to help him at the end, and they get
going against the ban.
Yeah,
might add, going against the ban. They were banned from ringside, and they went.
Technically, it was said that Kofi was going to the ring to be in the triple threat match for the WWE Championship, and New Day were barred from ringside from that match.
Yeah,
not the other one.
Yeah,
so they could have done it easier. But they ran down. Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev went and took him back out, and then it all just ended up just being the disrespect pin by the Bar with the feet on the chest. And
double disrespect pin.
Double disrespect, indeed. It's obviously it was just there to build Kofi on the way to WrestleMania.
That's to build the storyline a bit more, and granted, it disappointed the crowd, and understandably, but
well, they got an extra match out of it, I guess.
Yeah, they got an extra match, and
it would have been nice to see Kofi beat the odds. I think he might have done it if it was normal tag rules rather than tornado tag rules, but yeah,
it's one of those ones where you actually can't have Kofi win.
Yeah,
because otherwise it would damage the Bar too much. You know?
Yeah, and it would be too unbelievable.
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. This whole thing is about being unbelievable. Absolutely.
Unbelievable. Wrestling is scripted, you know. Ronda Rousey told us so.
Indeed. So we've got Elias segments. Obviously, Alliance is Alliance.
Long live the Elias! Why isn't that a t-shirt? Long live the Elias.
He's riffed on the Miz getting beaten down and how Kofi's not going to get shot and everything else. I imagine it's just there because obviously we're now getting adverts on the WWE Network. Yay!
You know, you can see the joy in my bloody face.
I'll tell you what, I'll be fine with it if I can get Raw and SmackDown live on the network. You know, I'm tired of it. Then? Yep. We won't ever get that because TV deals. Outdated media. But yeah, we go into the triple threat Raw Tag Team Championship match: Revival versus the glorious ones of Rude and Gable versus Aleister Black and Ricochet. It's nice to see the Revival got an entrance for once rather than just being in the ring or adverts and everything else. My biggest complaint with this story and how it's come out is it's like we're rebelling against NXT call-ups when everybody there, with the exception of Gable. Was Gable NXT? I don't know.
He was. He was in.
They're all NXT call-ups.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Why is this a thing?
I don't know. Because this is WWE. This is the main roster where nothing makes sense and there's no continuity unless the wrestlers remember it.
I get the point that, if they'd actually worded it where it's why are they coming up and why are they straight in a tag team title match, that I'd understand. That's something to be pissed off for because these guys didn't get their matches straight away. The only other person you could reliably have that beef with would be Finn Balor, because he literally got called up and went straight into a Universal title match.
True, but he qualified it, of course. Yeah.
But he still went straight into a number one contendership match for the Universal Championship. But the storyline is dumb. It makes no sense.
The storyline.
The argument completely of good NXT talent coming up and getting put straight in like tag team title opportunities blows my fucking mind. Whether this was meant to be still a storyline for Gargano and Ciampa,
I think
I
it
don't know
was.
anymore.
I think it was because I think that was the case before Tommaso Ciampa was diagnosed to need to go into surgery and get his neck sorted out.
Which
get
is
well
an
soon.
absolute disaster.
Yeah, I know. It's
Not just obviously terrible for the injury, but in terms of that whole thing that we've been building up to for 2 freaking years, disaster.
I was totally disheartened when that all happened. And like I said, get well soon, Ciampa, because frankly, we don't want you... Well, personally, me, I don't want to see your career end because of this. No. So,
I don't think anybody does.
No.
Somebody in the 4-1 comments on 4-1 Wrestling put it really simply, that walk forever is greater than fight forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm. But no, I think what it was originally going to be is that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano was going to have this tag team match in Fastlane with the Revival and whatnot, and dissension would happen, tease there, and then it would bleed into NXT, and then it would continue on there with their program, which would lead to NXT Takeover New York. But yeah, it's a shame that we didn't get that. But nevertheless, personally for the match itself, I actually enjoyed this match. It was really high. It was really good. High spots, things like Ricochet. I love Ricochet. He's so great. It's like I'm surprised he's able to do so much in the ring, being able to just dive out of the ring so many times. There was one spot where I was kind of like, ooh, where he did a reverse
outside Hurricanrana.
Yeah, it was
that outside Hurricanrana was a big oof.
Yeah, that was a big ooh. But other than that, it's like the action in the ring between the 3 teams was really good. Gable, I love Gable. He's awesome. It's like he should be
poor Gable.
Better.
He deserves so much better than this.
Yeah, I know.
The problem is that Gable on the mic is hot trash.
No, he can be good.
Put him with Paul Heyman and have him be sort of trying to build him up as your next Brock Lesnar. Yeah, your next pure athlete.
I think he should. I think he should have been introduced at. It goes back a long way, but he should have been Angle's illegitimate son. It would have made more sense. Yeah. They're very similar and everything else. I get why they wanted to push Jordan and everything else, but I get that.
He was like more.
Also, there's somebody else we should give fucking unfortunate respects to, because he's essentially retired now as well. Because his surgery
it hasn't been officially.
It's not officially, but he is pretty much said that surgery didn't go well. He's now working backstage in a.
Yeah,
he's learning about the producing side. Actually, before we go any further, you said about the Hurricane Rana off the top.
Yeah.
Rewind back to. Actually, forget that, because that's later on. Forget it. We'll go back to Hurricane Ranas off the top in a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've got another one on here later.
Anyway. It was the pre-show.
But no.
The outside. Go on, John. Go on.
No, I was going to say, I was just wrapping up with the match itself. The match was serviceable. The Revival retained the titles and whatnot, and it was good.
I think you're missing that hot tag as Ricochet went over the.
I love that one. It was like
that was
great for Gable to just get that hot tag from Ricochet, just going well over the ring.
That dive itself, having to go over that expanded ring post with all the light, that was awkward. But actually getting the tag that was so clever.
Yeah,
that was really good. Shows proper ring awareness and everything else. It was really.
Yeah.
I'd say the match was better than serviceable. The match was amazing.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
I would also say it's interesting to note the crowd reaction to the Shatter Machine.
Yes,
because that was a good reaction for the Shatter Machine.
Good
news, Revival. Everyone loves your finisher, and everyone wants to see your finisher. It
also adds to the fact that because Gable ate the pin, that it keeps Ricochet and Alistair, not weak.
Yeah.
And it keeps Revival strong.
Yeah.
And then we had another post-match schmoz.
Yeah, it's,
This was a theme throughout the night. Post match, hey, excellent. Let's all beat each other up post match.
Well, I mean, last pay-per-view before Mania, they've got to build any
Storylines
storylines
up,
that go forward for the next 4 weeks.
or that and get some, because what was it? You had to get the NXT guys to show off their finishers, like obviously what's Ricochet's, the 600, I think.
Something like that.
640, 630, something.
Aye, so something right. The multiple spin senton. They had to showcase that to get the crowd to go ooh on that.
Ooh, indeed.
So,
No, go on, Kev. Go.
no, I was trying to figure it out.
All right.
It might be 6:30. I don't know.
I think it's the 630.
So
Yeah, 630 because it'd be 450 plus 180.
yes,
Maths.
math indeed. That's what you come here for, not wrestling talk. Maths. But that leads us on to another match, which was not on the main card beforehand. It's essentially, it has changed from being Andrade, who has apparently lost his last name, and Rey Mysterio, to coming to the versus. Well, both of that match is still happening, but it's now become a fatal four-way for the the United States Championship versus R-Truth and Samoa Joe.
I do believe Big E welcomed him to the Loss of Last Names Club on Twitter, actually, when that was announced. It was
although
welcome.
It doesn't help the fact that Andrade's music still has Cien and Almas in the actual song.
Yeah, that'll change.
It doesn't go away. Keep it. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Confuse the audience.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I took away from this match is Samoa Joe going through those ropes.
He's good at it.
Joe's so good.
I'm surprised he's still that ability to do that, to do all that kind of like.
No, absolutely, but he wasn't even a missile because it was like he turned sideways and he he
literally went sliding.
He knows how to do it.
No, absolutely. I'm just saying
he knows how to keep it safe and impressive.
All right, John. Let me put it this way. Yeah, you're sitting there. How would you feel like if a steamroller came through your screen and landed on you? Because that's what that was. Joe flying through the yeah, exactly. Joe flying through those ropes like that is a scary proposition. It's
which is why it means more that he does it than anybody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you do not expect that level of agility from a man big.
No one expects
but then again, if you don't expect that, then you've obviously never seen a Samoa Joe match.
Yeah.
No one expects the Samoan Inquisition.
No.
Okay. Exactly. No one does. This match was really good. I enjoyed it. They're not taking the belt off Samoa Joe, obviously.
Bloody better not be. It's been hot shot enough, hasn't it? The secondary titles.
It's especially the US title because they frankly haven't been able to do it justice for a good long while. I mean, I can't remember the last person who actually made it decently relevant.
R-Truth.
R-Truth.
Well,
R-Truth made it decent. Actually, R-Truth was so much fun.
R-Truth has been a lot of fun recently.
Yeah, but that was that was...
R-Truth did the 5 moves of doom!
Yeah, but that was failed based on the fact that it was hot-shotted afterwards and whatnot. And it's like he only had the belt for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and then it was beforehand as well. But yeah, I like this young up-and-comer Ron Killings. I think he's got a good future. He's got a good future. They say he's a rapper as well, so he's got a secondary career. I look forward to hearing some of his work.
With his idol being that of the legendary John Cena.
The legendary John Cena, a well-known performer in jeans and rapping.
Tell me over there what's up. Turbo, tell me over there what's up. If you can hear me, say what's up.
Wait, which one of us is Carmella?
I don't know, but whoever wants to do a 7-second dance break with me.
Being that we're recording this on a specific date, I can easily do this.
That makes no sense to me. Okay, so I guess it's just you and me then, John.
Yeah, let's finish this up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the match was serviceable for a good bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it then takes us into the women's tag team championship with the Boss and Hug Connection versus the worst name in the universe of the Samoan Slaughterhouse. This match was shit. This is by far the worst match on the card.
Corey Graves says hi, by the way.
Oh, cool. Thanks, mate.
Good.
I didn't realize you were doing the 7-second dance break with me. I didn't realize that's why you vanished. You meant to dance.
Oh, didn't you do it?
No, we did do it. Yeah, absolutely. But you're the one.
Look,
I danced.
There's some room here, you know.
Oh right, sorry. You went on camera. My bad. Yeah, this women's tag team championship match was fucking terrible. Especially with what it led into at the end of Beth Phoenix getting involved. I thought she had the same problem that Edge had, where her neck had fused and she wasn't able to actually wrestle and do anything.
No, she didn't
have had babies and stuff.
With Edge. Yeah, I know. But I thought she had the same problem. That's why she didn't. I didn't realize
she didn't injure herself during her career.
Right.
That was caused her to retire.
Wasn't she in the women's Royal?
No, she commentated it. She
commentated it, but she was at Evolution in the Battle Royal for that, I believe.
Yeah, that was
she commentated that as well.
Did she?
Yes.
I thought that was.
Oh, actually, no, she did.
She commentated the Battle Royal. She commentated the Royal Rumble.
Oh well.
No, I'm sure she competed
there was many other blondes there, but not Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix.
I could have sworn we had her music at some point when she came.
Yeah, when she came down to commentate, they played her to go like special guests.
Look, we just want more Beth Phoenix, okay?
Of course we do. Beth Phoenix is amazing.
Beth Phoenix.
It feels like, and this is obviously following the Raw as well, that Natalia and Beth Phoenix, Natalia's new best friend, that's what they're billing it as.
No, but they're billing it as the fact that is well known. They've been really tight, really good best friends.
Natalia said, "My best friend."
Yeah,
who's obviously replaced Ronda Rousey as best friend.
Well,
okay,
you can have two best friends. Come on. What? So I can't have you two as best friends?
Nah, you gotta pick one.
Come on.
You gotta pick one.
Look, it's mummy or daddy, and you pick now. Okay.
Exactly. You can have
sign this paper.
You can have 7-second dance break, or you can have Sleeps with Hot Bit on the side. Corey Graves.
Jeez.
It's my nickname for cat.
Oh, right. Corey Graves.
Corey Graves. Hi, honey. Hey, Corey Graves, how you doing?
It looks like they're billing Natalia and Beth to be the next ones to go up against the Boss and Hug Connection as a
possibly.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. No, I'm happy with that.
It's better than watching Nia Jax and fucking Tamina.
Oh yeah, I get them out of there. Get those two.
Can we like have those two turn each other?
I think it'd be more interesting to watch.
Put it to like superstars or something. Or what?
Main event.
Main event. Don't put a main event. You're taking up valuable. You're taking up valuable slots from from the likes of Kurt Hawkins. Yeah. So don't put it on there. Where can you put it?
Sunday Night Heat.
Sunday night? No, because we've had half-time heat now. Because those Sunday Night Heat's a possibility. No, we don't want that.
Saturday night Shotgun Saturday or something.
Shotgun Saturday. Oh, no, that's still thought of as.
I'd say send them to NXT, but I don't want them to injure NXT superstars. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Nia Jax. She just needs to stop injuring people and being so unsafe to be with.
I don't know what's wrong with her. I mean, she wasn't like this in the beginning. Like, she wasn't causing too much trouble and whatnot. But for some reason, she's just now causing mistakes.
If it keeps happening, WWE will make a storyline out of it, like they tried to do it with.
They tried multiple times, and it's like, but if they keep going like this, and they realize, oh wait, she's actually legitimately causing more issues than any good, then I think we need to either send her back to developmental or cut her completely, because she need like
Absolutely.
she is better than this. She's better than this. I've seen her being better than this, and she can
We all have.
be. So I don't know what's happened.
Got it. That was the one I was thinking of. Velocity. We'll send it to Velocity.
Sure. We'll do that.
For a brief second there, I thought Velocity was actually the name of one of the pay-per-views for a minute that replaced Backlash.
No.
Never mind. I want to skip past the rest of this. We've been on it too much, and I want to talk about the WWE Championship that still stands as a triple threat match between Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan, and the returning Mustafa Ali, who got booed out the arena when it wasn't Kofi.
He got the Rey Mysterio treatment.
Absolutely.
Incidentally, what I was talking about with Hurricane Rana's off the top, watch that Hurricane Rana Rey Mysterio does on what's his name?
There were a couple of big oofs in this match. That was one of them. Another one was Ali's DDT to Bryan on the outside.
Oh God! Every time, no cringe. Stop.
And another one was the other mid-air collision that happened in this match.
I'm trying to remember who it was with.
What
I think it was with.
It was the finish of the match.
That was great. The running knee in midair.
It looked like a big oof. Is what I'm saying.
What was almost a big oof was Owens going over the top and almost going head first into the edge of the desk. Missed that by about an inch and a half.
I almost cringed.
I did. I legitimately thought he's just gone face first into the corner of this table.
Yeah, and it probably sliced his head open and whatnot. But thankfully he was fine. He was good. He was Kevin.
Mystic by that much.
Kevin, for the love of God, please don't hurt yourself again.
All right.
Yeah.
Not you.
Fine. You're encouraging me to hurt myself. Well,
so
I'll remember this for Mania.
I want to say I felt a lot. I have no investment in Ali at all. I never watched 205 Live. I missed quite a lot of the stuff when he was on SmackDown doing everything. And then he's back. He's instantly in the main event picture and everything else. And I'm like,
if he had his program at Elimination Chamber, your mood would probably be different.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have Kofi.
Yeah, but
which I prefer. Because I've been wanting the New Day to have a single. We all have. We've all talked about how much we want a member of the New Day, and I want that. I want that more than Ali. I don't understand why Ali's in the main event picture. I don't get it.
I get. Well, for this moment at least, I think it was just consolation for him not being in the Elimination Chamber, essentially. So.
That's fine, but why was he pushed to that spot in the beginning? Why wasn't he? If they wanted to get a 205 Live superstar that was really, really good on the main card, why have they gone and pushed him straight for the main event slot and not for a mid-card belt to see what he can do?
Because wasn't the storyline about Bryan crapping on 205 Live?
Yeah.
As far as I was aware, he was just crapping on everything in general.
Yeah, no, but he also he specifically crapped on 205 Live, and then the whole thing with Mustafa, and then Mustafa got a pinfall on Bryan, so then earned the right.
Yeah, I think that was the case.
But then again, everybody's pinned Daniel Bryan at this point. Kofi's done it twice. Yeah. Mustafa Ali's done it.
Yeah. Kevin Owens
has done it. Everyone's pinned Daniel Bryan.
Also, by the way, Kevin Owens can really do a good stunner now. It's just a shame it's now his finisher rather than his pop-up powerbomb.
He's still pop-up powerbombing though, isn't he?
He is, but it's not his finisher anymore.
Yep, now it's his signature.
Yeah, but the stunner, he's not landing pinfalls with it.
He did. The Bryan in that tag match.
Yep. That's why they got it over.
Yep.
But then it's not. They've already not protected it though, because people are kicking it. Like it was kicked out of it Fastlane. It's not protected.
No, it was interrupted.
All right. Fair enough. I don't know. Have you guys got any more thoughts on this match?
I thought it was decent. Actually, no, more than decent. It was actually very good. I personally enjoyed it. I liked the action. I was just disappointed that the crowd obviously interrupted it a lot with their chance to Kofi. I can understand why they wanted to have Kofi.
Well, they came around. The crowd came around in the end.
Yes, they did eventually come round, which is good.
You got to admit the crowd had their chain significantly yanked. They were told it was he was going to be in the Kofi was going to be in the triple threat match.
Yep.
He got severely thrown under the bus, and
Yep.
then it was announced as a triple threat match still, and everybody thought it was going to be Kofi and not expecting Ali, which is understandably a reaction that they want to get. Everybody wanted Kofi in that spot.
There would be a number of people there that were expecting to see Kofi Kingston perform, and while card is subject to change, you can't exactly fault the crowd for still being annoyed about it. What did come out of that as good was obviously, poor Mustafa Ali. He was coming back from injury as well, which we haven't mentioned. And like I say, he got the Rey Mysterio at Mania treatment, or Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble,
well, and Mania as well.
Did it happen at Mania?
The Money in the Bank ladder match.
Okay,
when he stopped Miz.
Fair enough.
So, there's that. But one thing that will be noted is that whilst the crowd were, sort of more against him because of Kofi, as you mentioned, he basically won them back, and he won them back with his effort in the match. And that will be noted by WWE management and the producers.
Yeah.
Now you can turn the crowd around, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very good.
For me, but...
The next match on the card, which I thought was going to be the main event rather than what actually ended up being, but we had Becky versus Charlotte. With if Becky wins, she goes into the main event she goes into the match at WrestleMania, which is most likely going to be the main event at WrestleMania of Charlotte, Rousey, and Becky. Now, I thought going into this match that we were just going to see Becky just throw the crutch away, and she's going to be, I'm fine, I'm ready to go. No, it was still a thing that she's playing on the knee still and everything else. So it was interesting to see how it was going to go and everything else. But credit to WWE. While what they did was absolute dog shit, the actual execution of it is a credible way to get Becky to WrestleMania in that match. No, it's credible. Rousey wanted Becky. The only way that it could happen was if Becky won. Becky looks like she's losing. Rousey runs down, causes a disqualification finish. Doesn't need to do anything more. Does the one punch. Charlotte's disqualified. Becky wins. It's credible. It's, in terms of storyline, it is a credible way to go forward. The match was dog shit. Don't get me wrong, but it's a credible part of the storyline, which is exactly like the handicap match we had earlier, purely there for story. Because the fucking storyline revolving these women is too fucking convoluted already.
It does tie back into Rousey getting pissed off with the McMahons, and Stephen Trips. It does tie back into that. But yeah, tosh otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, I want to point out that in the 6 weeks since the Royal Rumble, Becky's been stripped of her match, suspended, arrested, unsuspended, all charges dropped, back in there, got a chance to it,
taken out of it,
everything else taken out of it, put back in it, and then this, and it's just you've literally got someone that's essentially done their own 316 moment, got the crowd behind them of their own, and you've seen that, you've jumped on it too hard to get the McMahon involvement, so you've
smashed it into the ground. Typical.
You've literally got you wanted to really make it an Austin versus McMahon scenario. You've tried too hard to do it, and what was literally very simple, you could have literally have gone, you don't respect me, I'm taking you out of the match, and I'm putting Charlotte Flair in your place. Okay, that's fine. Then you just build up to the fact that Becky wants that match to earn her way back in. And then you put Becky versus Charlotte. You don't need to put all the injury stuff and the suspensions and everything else. If you want to build up a fucking Becky versus the McMahons, you could do that by having them try to screw her at every turn. Not just by suspensions and everything. There are other options that you can do.
One of the things I'd like to ask Turbo this actually. Did you think Becky's reaction Did that feel odd to you based on the character and what has happened?
And take away what was said on SmackDown.
It was odd.
Yeah,
I think it was. It's like it just.
The only one who added any credibility to the reactions was Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
In that, Becky's reaction makes sense post SmackDown.
Yeah, go on, John.
No, it's just I was so confused with all this and whatnot, and how Becky's reaction to the whole thing after the match and whatnot. It was like, what is going on? It's like it just baffles me.
You've hit the nail on the head there, because it is literally what they've had with Becky and Ronda. It is the most straightest path. It didn't need explanation. It didn't need convolution. It didn't need interference. It could have just gone.
Yeah.
This was a done deal. But no, instead of going from A to B, we had to take it to blooming Epsilon and every other bloody thing you can find on your phone in the symbols section. And they've just overdone it.
Yeah.
They've messed it up.
That was the main problem.
It's lesser now as a result.
Yeah, they've overcomplicated the whole thing, and I wish they shouldn't have done that in the first place. I was just, and like Pete said, I was just expecting Becky Lynch to just feign the injury, just go, "Hey, I'm jumping on my leg, and I'm going to kick your ass." Yeah,
do a Batista.
And, do that. But no, they still want to keep selling on that leg. And thank God. Whether or not she is still legitimately trying to heal from that injury and whatnot is still up in the air. Whether or not she still has a legitimate injury of a minor point, which I don't think either. I think that's all being played up, and for the love of God, would they stop playing on it? Because we've seen that happen to so many superstars as of late, too often. Look at Seth Rollins, and
not too hard, they'll get injured.
And I just wish they wasn't. They just make it simple, but in making it complicated, it made me roll my eyes like around. It's ridiculous.
I didn't care. I enjoyed it.
Well,
and I think this is one of those moments where casuality, as I like to put it, beats over being invested too much in the business. I think that's exactly what's happened here. As someone that's casually enjoying it, I enjoy.
Fair enough. Of it. I mean, granted, with with the likes of myself and Kev, we'll probably be more, either confused or like, what's the opposite of invested?
Uninvested.
Uninvested. Yeah.
Disinterested.
Yeah, we're going with that.
Absolutely. I want to move on to the last interlude of Elias with the most beautiful Randall Keith Orton, the most beautiful Randall Keith Orton moment ever, and the RKO on Elias that was absolutely delicious. No point to it except to build him versus AJ, but the RKO that just came literally out of nowhere, flew in, took him down, and it was a delicious RKO. It was brilliant to watch.
But I'll be on AJ style with this, with his promo on SmackDown the next couple the couple of nights later, saying that
misabused Diamond Cut. Of course you would, you fucking DDP fanboy. I enjoyed it. It was a good RKO. I felt like this and AJ thing didn't need to be there, but it was fun. It got it done. It did what it was meant to do. It's fine. We'll move on to the main event.
Sorry, before you do, whilst we know we're gonna get AJ Orton, are we perhaps gonna get Elias in this now as a triple threat?
Hell no.
No, won't happen. I'll tell you what will happen, and I'm going to predict it now. We're going to see a phenomenal forearm into an RKO.
Yes, because this is the only reason. This is the only reason how we pick Randy Orton opponents for big for big matches
How
is
we
the
can
ability to do an
most
RKO out of their repertoire.
Look, I'm not sure if it will ever be as good as the stomp into the RKO, and I keep bringing it up because it was glorious to watch. 'Cause
Nothing is beating that.
but it's gonna be amazing to watch, and they'll do it on the hard cam side as well because it's the only way they'll get the best shot of the forearm into the RKO. I think it's just gonna be too good to watch, and I'm looking forward to that. But yes, I want to talk about the main event. I've got a couple of things here in my notes because one of them is really funny and one of them I hate Michael Cole in the universe for.
I got an idea what you're going to talk about.
Well, I put it in the Discord, which you can find at Last Minute Continue if you ever want to join us there. So, the Shield versus... there's been a couple of names for this, and it's Baron Corbin's Mid-Card of Evil, or my personal favourite, Three-Man Bland. I personally enjoy that one.
Poor Drew.
I know.
I said this last time. Poor Drew.
He's been carried. He's been carried.
What?
Heavily
He's
brought
carrying
down.
everything else.
Heavily brought down by the massive weight around his neck of Baron fucking Corbin. Why is this man in main events? Seriously, no one cares. Am I misjudging a British rhetoric to how Americans feel about this man? Essentially, Baron Corbin's gone from this shitty level supervisor who everybody hates because he's got a small taste of power and he abuses it, to fucking high-end management, to fucking being a dickhead who abuses power. And he's been demoted back to that fucking high-end supervisor that you have at work who everybody hates because he's still got that touch of power.
No,
and
he's
shit.
He's not even that anymore. He is pretty much the low-end kind of like sales assistant that thinks who has all this kind of
Who's
like
had power.
Who's had power, and he has all this high and mighty, and it's like all this experience, and thinks he can talk down to everyone, even though he's on the same level as everyone else now because he's at the bottom level.
He's not the lone wolf Baron Corbin anymore, folks. He is the loans and financing executive Baron Corbin, and
Baron Corbin
please
lost his power.
go away.
Yes.
Go away.
We keep saying that, but he just keeps coming back, and it's just.
Oh, I hope you're looking forward to one of the two main events of WrestleMania that he'll be in. It'll either be him and someone else versus Reigns and Ambrose, or it'll literally just be Reigns versus Corbin in a main event spot.
I don't know, because again, post this pay-per-view, we've had Drew being amazing as usual and taking out Ambrose, so that might be him gone now. We don't know.
But if we have Reigns versus Drew, it will be an amazing match, but Corbin will interfere, and therefore he'll still be in a main event match.
Yeah, just let us have Reigns versus Drew and just let them do their thing, because those two. I imagine Reigns is motivated. Drew wants to make a point.
If we get Reigns versus Drew, I imagine that match at WrestleMania will be Last Man Standing.
That would be a good one.
It will be a very good match, but it allows Corbin to interfere.
I mean, it means Reigns wins.
It means Reigns wins.
It means Reigns wins.
Corbin's will interfere, but Ambrose will also return at that last minute standing match.
Corbin will interfere, and then Drew will knock the shit out of him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Please book this. Please book this. I want to see him just take his face off with a claymore.
I just want obviously Drew to be obviously the psychopath that he wants to portray on the main roster and whatnot, and that because they keep calling them the Scottish psychopath. Let him be a psychopath. Let him just beat the living shit.
They need to do this. They need to let him go full psychopath in a last man standing match with Reigns at WrestleMania. Make him go full psychopath, and then he can finally be billed as the big heel. Once fucking Brock Lesnar's fucking gone.
Go!
Yeah. Gone.
Look, take Baron Corbin, fold him into quarters, stick him in your suitcase, go
and leave.
Yeah. We're gonna go talk about this match, and then we'll do another. We'll do a quick thoughts on stuff afterwards.
Drew going full Orton levels of despicable.
Yep.
Orton hyper heel levels. Yes, please.
Yes. But no,
we have the entrances of Three Man Bland, and then we got the entrances of the Shield, And I wanna just pick a big spot in Michael Cole. I wanna get my fucking sniper rifle out. I wanna fucking find a headshot for him because he turned around on Reigns' entrance and said, "There's the big dog. He's back after dealing with the cancer." You unremarkable asshole. You absolute fucking blight on this fucking...
No.
You were a fucking... You were legitimately a war correspondent and you used to talk really well.
That was clearly not a Michael Cole line.
I don't care.
That was in the earpiece
That's
from
in the
McMahon
earpiece.
himself.
That's Vince.
Because Vince obviously doesn't know Jack. He doesn't know the difference between actual cancer and leukemia, because there are like so many different kind of like cancers out there and whatnot. And it's like just vaguing it to the cancer is obviously something that Vince sees.
If it had been the big dog defeated the big C, which is, you know, would have been slightly better.
I would have accepted that.
Yeah, but no.
I understand Cole. I understand Cole likes his position. I understand that Cole has been the big replacement for the King and JR in the big turnaround way back in the day.
And he is on a leash.
I understand that he's on a leash. But at the end of the day, there has to be a point where you turn around and go, I'm not going to say it like this.
Yeah.
You can't be so conditioned to be told what you... It would be exactly like being told to do everything as it comes in normal everyday life.
I'm sure we've talked about this before. We know there's the clips of when, you know, there's the clips from the direct feed.
Yeah.
You know, when everyone else is gone, but the direct feed is still live, and Cole's talking to Vince, to Vince in the back, and the guys in Gorilla, and we know that Cole's just getting stomped on, and the guy's been absolutely stomped on for 20 years, and you know I still maintain it's an absolute wonder he does what he does, the variety of things he does, all the various balls that he has to juggle, as well as obviously keeping, you know, whoever he's doing the commentary with, which is now obviously two people as standard, pointing in the right direction. I still maintain that no, he's not a JR, but in terms of this era of WWE, what he actually does at the commentary table is just freaking amazing, but not by the quality of the call, by what he's dealing with all the time in his ear, and having to articulate everything that he's seeing in front of him. In terms of like a multi-sensory thing, he is basically a sensory octopus in what he's doing. He's looking, he's hearing, he's speaking all at the same time, taking free bits of, you know, two free strains of information in, one strain and one output of information. It's actually ridiculously impressive.
Yes, it is. I get it, but there still has to be a point where
hell yeah,
it's gone too far where to just re-spout words you said. All Vince should be doing is giving direction. Be like, you need to mention that he's just beat cancer. Cool. Roman Reigns is back from beating leukemia. Not the cancer. There can be... I'm not saying don't do it. I've done it before. I've talked about stuff. I've had the voice in my head. There's clips on the internet of me doing that as well, from way back in the day. All you need is direction. You don't re-spout words that are put in your ear. If he's been told to say that and he's re-spouted that, that's on him. He can't do that. And if that's the case of where we are, then Vince needs to leave. I'm sorry, but it's disrespectful to anybody dealing with that illness and any variations of that illness.
Yeah, any variation.
God,
yeah. Because obviously it's not a simple. It's not like obviously when it was talked with Reigns, where it was like what he specifically had in terms of what he was diagnosed with and whatnot, and how he counteracted it and whatnot. Not everyone's got to be like Roman Reigns.
No,
it's like no one's got to be able to beat that.
Here's the thing. Yeah, the big charity thing they do with the Coleman.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
They don't say that it's just to beat cancer. They specifically say what kind of cancer it is. It's not like it's not a rhetoric that they haven't talked about before. My problem is how they're talking about it. It's ridiculous.
And for a company that's so well versed in speaking about that, clumsy.
Yeah, very clumsy.
Otherwise, I mean, jumping back to the match, it did what it was there to do. It was fun to watch. It had spots. It's a Shield beatdown and everything else. Baron Corbin actually did impress me with an absolutely amazing deep six.
Beauty. Absolute beauty. Again, reminder, this is not his finisher for some goddamn reason.
Mm-hmm.
He actually did a proper choke slam. Not the backbreaker, fucking fall out of his hand choke. He did a proper choke slam.
I'll be fine with that, with him having a proper choke slam as part of his repertoire. Also, it means he doesn't, try and break his own knee every time he does it. But
I think Baron Corbin needs to take a couple of weeks, a month after WrestleMania, leave after whatever beatdown's going to happen to him, come back, not in these fucking I'm a Constable Corbin kind of rhetoric, kind of clothing. Come back, even if you want to come back with the old clothing style you had and be a badass and actually do things. As long as you do things properly, and just don't be bland, you'll probably be more interesting to watch.
If ever there was a wrestler that needed a repackaging.
Yeah. It's pretty much
Baron Corbin.
But yeah, it was an enjoyable end to the show. It's Reigns was the Shield were never going to lose because it's the Shield's final hurrah. Reigns has literally just come back from the leukemia being in recession and everything else. The Shield were never going to lose here. It was a fun match. Corbin eating the pin after a Shield bomb. Very good. Fifths in the middle at the end of it. It was a feel-good moment. Very good way to end the show. I think there was only one bad thing on the entire card, and that was the Women's Tag Team Championships, which is annoying because they've literally only just become a thing.
And again, while we didn't sort of mention that specifically, again, MVP of that match was Bayley, yet again.
Oh, we glossed over it while you were having your 7-second dance break with Corey Graves.
Well, yeah. So though, Bayley last couple of months, up a couple of gears.
Absolutely.
In fact, Sasha's looked pretty much pedestrian compared to her, actually.
Absolutely. Scores on the doors, Mr. Kevin. You get the start this week.
Oh, this pay-per-view, man.
More highs than lows, I think.
Yeah, but it's more. I wouldn't say more highs than lows. More okays than lows. It's gonna be. It's gonna be a 5.5.
Ooh.
Because there was a lot of it that I really wasn't invested for.
Do you know what? I can see that.
There was. See that. And I'm thinking about the last one, the last pay-per-view, and I think I gave that like a 6 or so.
No, I think you got that a little higher.
Or a 6.5 or something.
I lowballed the. I agreed with you. We did 6.5.
6.5, but that was a much better pay-per-view for me. This really was hampered by, it's bait and switches. It's the road to WrestleMania. Blah blah blah, and but even the stuff we had, I wasn't that invested in the title triple threat. I didn't really. It was like even Kevin Owens didn't get me, interested in what he was doing. I know. I was watching it going, I should really be enjoying this more, and I wasn't, and I don't understand why, and that seemed to be a lot of the show for me. It really was. There was a lot of okays. There was several, and there was a couple which, if I had to rate it, it would just be NA, non-applicable, because they were just storyline bits.
Yeah, fair enough.
it
John?
was a thing.
What's your thoughts, John?
Well, I'm granted it was not as I can definitely agree with Kev and how he kind of like output it, but I did have some more enjoyment from the Triple Threat Championship match because I did like the performance from what was going on. The major downsides to myself was that of the women's tag and the women's SmackDown Championship match and the Becky Charlotte match.
So basically, you're shitting on all the women, is what you're
Sadly,
saying.
yes.
But through no fault of their own.
Yeah,
for the most
by
part.
no fault of their own. Yeah, because
I say for the most part, there's two that definitely.
Yeah. So so I'm just gonna give it a solid 7, personally myself. I think it's only fair for that because I did enjoy, the majority of the matches and the performances from the majority of the card, and even though some of the stuff that was kind of like storyline, kind of like build-ups for the weeks ahead, going into Mania, it was still manageable, but it wasn't something that was like making me go, F this, I don't want to see this and whatnot. Because no, I was invested for those kind of like moments. Kofi, Miz and whatnot. So really, in all honesty, it's like I think a solid 7 was good for me. So yeah.
So I was going to come in here and I was going to give it a 7. I wholly enjoyed the pay-per-view, with the exception of the women's tag team match, which bored me, quite honestly. But then I listened to some of the points that Kev made, and I wasn't invested in the WWE Triple Threat because of Ali. I think I probably would have enjoyed it a hell of a lot more if it was Owens versus Bryan. But, it got me round in the end. There quite a good few spots and everything else. And, I mean, I can't be agreeing with John on a score, I can't be doing that.
No, stick with your gun. You stick with your gun. You stick with your guns if you thought it was worth a 7 on your score.
You don't have to agree with me.
As someone who enjoyed the pay-per-view with the exception of one match, and I'm talking about everything in general, I'm going to give it an 8, regardless of how predictable it is. I enjoyed it. I think it, as a Fastlane pay-per-view, it's much better than what we've had previously. As a standard pay-per-view, which is telling a lot of stories and how they're telling some of the stories, I enjoyed it. It's a solid 8 from me.
But you still think that like, in general, we shouldn't have had Fastlane in general, I think.
I think they should have moved Elimination Chamber a couple of weeks back, and there should be a solid 4-week gap between each. Because
if they really needed something, they could have just done a network special and have a little thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like Roadblock.
Everyone remember Roadblock?
Yeah, I do.
What
it had that awesome,
show that
awesome
was.
Ambrose versus Triple H match on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's interesting. It's interesting though, because I think this is probably the show where we've had the greatest difference in the lowest and highest scores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But despite that, we can very much accept. I can very much accept Pete's score of an 8, and he can very much accept my score of a 5.5 because it's exactly what I was thinking. It was what you said, Pete. Was that it felt like I was sort of watching the show almost like for the sake of watching the show.
Yeah.
It felt like that. I'm not watching this for my enjoyment. I'm watching this to find out information almost. And yeah, but it's. Let me put this another way, actually, for everybody's benefit. Fastlane is the pay-per-view pre-show for WrestleMania.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Point. Yeah.
That's a very good point.
As a result of that, it's at least for me.
It's also longer than your average pay-per-view at 3.5 hours. I want to point out.
Why did it need to be that? When I started.
I mean,
watching the
we
record,
had
like,
2
why is
extra
it that
matches
long?
on the card. There was 2 extra matches on the card.
Yeah, which
in
didn't
defense.
technically
One of
didn't
those,
need to be.
one of those was well deserved and actually needed to be on there.
Jeez.
But yeah, even then it still overran. Like, if you want to have WrestleMania as your big show of the year, make it your 6 hours without the pre-show. I absolutely agree. You've got so much time you want to get it on there. You want to have your other big shows? Sure, do the other big 3 at 4 hours, but I understand why you want to have it more than 3, because it essentially is just an extra episode of Raw. I get it, but then take Raw back down to 2 hours. Fucking it. If you want to do it, that extra hour can just go, as I said last time, to an hour dedicated to the women's wrestling.
But we'll just have to wait until advertisers can agree on that, if ever.
Well,
which I don't think they will.
Well, if you let Becky have a moment properly and she becomes, that level of breakout star that Austin was, then you would. But we got to interfere with it because McMahon's...
Anyway.
Yeah.
Mr. John Turbo Finley, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on the internet, on Twitter at TurboXLR, as well as on Instagram if you want to follow me on there as well at the same tag. Also, you can follow me on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/TurboDriveLive, where I stream every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. UK time.
Mr. Kevin, the Kevin Eva, where can they find you on the social medias?
You can find me personally on Twitter at the Kevin Eva. Alternatively, you can find Last Minute Continue, our main sort of parent channel for this, at Last Minute Continue. That's on Instagram as well, which is sort of a joint LMC/personal Instagram for me. You can find us on Facebook as well. If you look up just Last Minute Continue, we're at on twitch.tv/Last Minute Continue. YouTube, I checked, it does work actually. YouTube.com/Last Minute Continue. You don't need the CI after all, it turns out. And if you would like us as a group for Last Minute Kickout, we're actually on Twitter at Faces in Peril.
Brilliant stuff. You'll also find in the description below, as I mentioned earlier on, a link to the Last Minute Continue. Please come and join us in the crew. We do gaming with various people who want to play with us. There's lots of Discord channels in there to talk about stuff, specifically the wrestling, if you just want to join us for wrestling as well. Otherwise, you can find me personally on Twitter at Titans Creed. You can follow my gaming Twitter on at Gaming Phoenix. You can find me on Twitch 5 days a week at twitch.tv/Project Phoenix Productions. I am on Instagram, but I don't use it, so don't go looking for me there. Otherwise, thank you very much. We have been Last Minute Kickout. The next show you'll probably find, unless we do a small interlude, will be our WrestleMania predictions for a shiny belt. For a shiny belt that Kev has. That we all...
John Turbo Finley's shiny belt.
That John wants back and I want for the first time. We will be doing predictions for WrestleMania. If we don't do an interlude show, that will be coming before WrestleMania. And then our next big show, which will most likely be a 2-parter, as it normally is for one of the big shows, for WrestleMania itself. Who knows? We look forward to, if you have, again... listen to us on the iTunes feed, or if you've been watching us on YouTube. Thank you very much. Your support is always appreciated. Give it a like, give it a follow, give it a subscribe. I don't know what you have to do on iTunes to up us on there. I think it's just a review rating on star rating on there.
Yeah. And
do whatever you can. And subscribe to the actual feed itself to get the stuff automatically downloaded on your feed. We're on other podcast stuff as well, I want to say. I'm not sure. Otherwise, thank you. We'll see you again later. Until next time, farewell.
Bye, everybody.